Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I rise to discuss and present Amendment number 2931 to the bill before us. This is a germane amendment. It's all about the substance of the bill before us, and it is a fully bipartisan proposal, since all of the substance of this amendment was actually contained in the President's budget submission, his most recent budget submission. Amendment idea is very simple. It would prohibit unemployment insurance and disability double dipping. Those are two different things. One is about somebody who's temporarily unable to find work, still looking for work, clearly able to work. That's unemployment insurance. Disability is fundamentally different. That's somebody who is disabled and because of that disability cannot work on a long-term basis. So as President Obama has proposed, as many Republicans have proposed, this would simply prohibit an individual from receiving both of those benefits at the same time and would save about $1 billion over 10 years. That's President Obama's own estimation. And so, Mr. President, to fully present and consider this, I would ask unanimous consent that it be in order for me to offer my amendment number 2931.
Is there objection?
Mr. President.
The Majority Leader.
Reserving the right to object.
Mr. President, I'm going to repeat my request because apparently the Majority Leader, based on his comments, didn't understand it. I have an amendment that is about unemployment insurance. I have an amendment that's germane to the bill. It's not about Obamacare. It's not about EPA. It's not about the Koch brothers. And I have an amendment that is a proposal contained in President Obama's last two budgets. So my amendment has nothing to do with any of the comments and objections he made. So for that reason, I'm trying to clarify that, and I would again ask unanimous consent that my germane amendment proposed by President Obama in his last two budgets be in order, and it be in order for me to offer my amendment number 2931.
Is there objection?
Reserving the right to object, I clearly understood the diversion and delay tactics of my friend from Louisiana, and I object.
Objection is heard.
Well, Mr. President, reclaiming the floor, I think it's very unfortunate. I don't know why it's diversionary to talk about the substance that's before us in this bill. That's not changing the subject, I would say, through the chair to the Majority Leader. That's talking about the subject. I don't know why it's delaying anything to consider an amendment during the time set aside for this bill. That's not delaying anything. That's doing the business of the Senate by bringing valid ideas to the floor and offering them as an amendment. And I don't know why it's Republican obstructionism to have an amendment that is a proposal contained in President Obama's last two budgets. So again, I would just make the point that everything the Majority Leader said in objecting to my being even able to present my amendment for a vote doesn't apply to my amendment. It's complete nonsense. It's just talking past the substance of this amendment, which is about unemployment insurance reform and which is a bipartisan proposal and which is included in the President's last two budgets. Now, this is an important and common sense reform. It's common sense because eligibility for the two programs we're talking about are mutually exclusive. It's apples and oranges. Disability is designed to assist folks who are physically or mentally unable to work for a significant period of time, sometimes permanently. Unemployment insurance, in contrast, is intended to replace some of the earnings for those individuals who become unemployed and are unable to find work temporarily. It is an oversight, a technical imperfection in the law, the fact that some limited number of folks can double dip and get both at the same time. And this is widely recognized on a bipartisan basis. On the Republican side, of course, I have this amendment. Senator Coburn, my colleague from Oklahoma, has had similar proposals. Senator Portman, my colleague from Ohio, has had similar proposals. On the Democratic side, there's no higher-ranking Democrat I can possibly cite than President Obama. He's included this reform, exactly this reform, in his last two budget proposals. I've never heard any articulation from any Democrat or any member of the Senate why this reform doesn't make sense. And the majority leader, while objecting to my even being able to present this amendment for a vote, offered no such rationale. He talked past it. He talked about the Koch brothers, and he talked about EPA, and he talked about Obamacare, instead of talking about my germane, common sense, bipartisan reform amendment to this bill, which has been included, this proposal, in President Obama's last two budgets. So I really find this very unfortunate, but I'm going to continue to fight for a vote on this amendment. It will improve the bill. Whatever you think about the bill, this will improve it. This will save about $1 billion over 10 years. This will clear up the double dipping, which was never intended and is contrary to the fundamental purpose, different purposes of the two programs. And this will advance a proposal that has been included in President Obama's last two budgets. With that, Mr. President, I will return to promote this amendment, but for now, I yield the floor and suggest the absence of a quorum.